Bring your own weird. Bring your own weird. Bring your own
Okay, so I'm going to start this off that there's spoilers.
Oh,
in
big
this
time. Yes, big time
and
spoilers.
stuff since the final season just came out.
Yes.
Last week or the week before or whatever.
Something like that.
So listening forward, you're going to hear spoilers because we're talking about the Netflix series You.
The whole series.
The whole series. Season 1 to season 5. So we're going to be referencing a lot of shit. So if you've only seen a couple, like 1 or 2 seasons or whatever, or you haven't watched it at all and you don't want anything to be spoiled, then I suggest you stop listening and fuck right off. Okay? So having said that, the first thing I'm going to say is this fucking guy.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to start it off by saying that, like, at no point, because in this conversation, there will be I will not be in support of Joe in any way, shape, or way or form. So, okay, so, so there's going to be debates here moving forward.
So after watching the 5th season and finally having my eyes opened and then watching the recaps. Oh, by the way, season 2 doesn't have any recaps. It's the only season that doesn't have recaps. So I just watched the first couple minutes of each episode.
Got it.
And then I watched like 7 minutes of of episode 10 because that's when Love is giving her like monologue of everything she did.
Yeah.
And stuff. And so I get your point of view. Okay. But, so, again, I understand Joe's a bad dude, okay? I understand this. I was just saying that I found him very smart and resourceful, and yes, I understand he's a stalker, okay? I get that. But he was very good at it, I guess, as, the top stalkers are. Okay, yes, I get your point of view now after finishing it. But when I first started for season 1, I found him, like I said, intelligent, resourceful, figuring out a way to work himself in, using the resources he had available, meaning like the internet. Everybody posts all kinds of shit on the internet, and he found a lot of the stuff on...
Okay. But see, he is the perfect example as to why we need, like, not just state, but national stalker laws. He is the perfect example and stuff because he's just looking at her social medias and this and that and everything, but the purposes that he uses it for is completely fucking insane. It's like it would be one thing if he was a licensed PI. Okay.
He should really be one, actually. Okay. Make money at the things he does.
No. So, but to be fair, so, like, I did not walk into this series having no idea about what it was about or anything like that.
Oh, I didn't.
No.
I mean, I did.
No, I know. But the point is that you started watching it back when the
first season came
or whatever season came out, and however fucking long ago that was.
Right.
You would tell me about it. So I already knew the type of guy that Joe was going to be walking in. Okay. And stuff. But to be fair, just based on the behavior that I saw, my hackles were already up. Like, this is not okay.
Do you get what I mean? So, episode 9 of season 5, remember when Marion was talking about to Bronte about, you want to do this, her whole little speach to her? That, what you just said is exactly,
so
your hackles are up, but like, I apparently am too trusting, I guess, because
well, what I loved is she accomplished, some serious deprogramming in the matter of a few minutes in one conversation.
Yes.
That it took Joe literally months and months and months to, you know, like
to get
Bronte slash Louise to like fall under his spell.
Yes.
And shit. So it's like, so good on Marianne for being able to, and
Yes.
all she did was use the truth and her own personal experience.
Exactly.
And stuff, which was good.
Yes.
Because it's like, you know, I can see where some women who are lacking different things in their life or have certain self-esteem issues or whatever it is that they have going on, that they can fall victim to his manipulations.
Yes.
And,
because he was a good excellent manipulator.
And the thing is, though, is like, he wasn't, to my estimation of it, is he was not consciously doing it. It's not like he was super manipulative. He actually believed all the shit that he was spouting.
Yes.
And that's what makes him so fucking scary.
Yes, and more dangerous, because
exactly, because he thought that he wasn't doing anything wrong.
Right.
And the stuff that he did know was wrong, you know, like say the killing and all that shit and everything like that. He justified it in his own ways.
As in he was protecting her from this.
Exactly.
Or...
It was necessary. It was a necessary evil
yes.
to protect the person that I love.
Yes.
And blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
But, you know, that's why when he's in the box confessing and stuff and he says, you know, like, I liked it and stuff. It's like, that was like the truest that he had ever been at that point. And didn't Kate even
say that? There you are. There's the real you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so happy Kate didn't die. I really thought she was dead.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad she wasn't. Yeah,
I did not want her to die because you know, because he snowballed her too.
Yeah. Like,
yes, she knew what he was capable of, and yes, she
utilized him in one instance.
Yes. In a lot of the shit and stuff.
Yes.
But you know, he had her under his spell, thinking that she was going to be the thing that like fixed that thing in him to where he wouldn't feel the need to do that shit anymore.
Yes.
And she totally fell under his spell that like, I was doing it to protect my family. I was doing it to protect the person I love and all that stuff and everything. And it's like, but isn't that usually what most stalkers say to like justify their, you know?
And I thought he found it in love. Because love was just like him.
Oh my God. They were a fucking perfect pair.
I know.
So the fact that he like had he felt she was the deranged one and shit.
I know.
And everything.
And she was like, what are you even talking about? You did this. Exactly. And she was like, what is even happening right now?
If anything, love was more freer in that whole fucked up scenario. Because, you know, she
knew
what
she was doing.
Yes.
You
know what I mean? And stuff like, she was perfectly okay with it.
Yes.
And stuff. She knew she was doing shit out of jealousy. She knew she was doing shit out of whatever and stuff. Whereas Joe, you know, he had to justify it in some way. Oh, I'm protecting Marianne. Or, oh, I'm protecting this person or something like that. And it's like,
and
dude,
I feel
talk about a fucking hero complex over here.
Shit. And that's
complex.
what I mean. I feel like, because him and Love were perfect. Okay, you know, in their deranged way. But I feel like he decided not to, you know, didn't like Love anymore because she wasn't what he had pictured in his little box about being saved.
She wasn't that damsel in distress
because she could exactly.
And his love, you know, wasn't going to fix her or whatever like that. You know, if anything, Love, because she was so fucked up and everything like that, she did honestly. To me, she didn't need any fixing. No, not in that respect.
Right.
You know, she was fully,
right.
You know, like, yeah.
And he was like, I have to keep cleaning up her messes and blah, 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 and all this stuff.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's the whole reason that started turning him off. Is because she was more sloppy than he was.
Yes.
So he was being really fucking judgy.
Yes.
Like, they were doing the exact same fucking thing.
Right, but because
she was less methodical about it.
Yes.
She was more, fly by the seat of her pants.
Yes.
You know, like going with her gut and like emotional responses where Joe was more of a intellectual, like thought out, more methodical and stuff like that. They were still doing the exact same things. They were just implementing them in different ways and stuff. And so really when you think about it, he stopped loving her. He stopped wanting to be with her and all of that bullshit and stuff because she was too fucking chaotic for him.
Yes.
And that plays into that whole like in that episode when Bronte / Louise was telling him about the whole like chaotic good, chaotic evil, chaotic shit and stuff like that. It's like, you know, Joe thought of himself as chaotic good or whatever, and he thought of love as chaotic evil.
Yes.
You know, is what I'm interpreting that as.
Right.
And stuff, if you take that whole thing into
Yes.
play and stuff. So it's like, so really when you think about it, it's like he fell out of, in one way, he fell out of love with love because really when you think about it, maybe it was jealousy because she was more freer.
Yeah.
You know
she
what I
could be
mean?
her true self, and
Yeah,
he had to
and she didn't apologize for it.
right.
Yeah, you know,
She didn't make excuses.
exactly. So
she
it's like
did what she thought had to be done.
exactly, and I think maybe could it be that Joe was jealous
It's possible
because she was freer
yeah.
and he wanted to put her in her place, and also, you know, he had to do the thing where he outsmarted her by building up a tolerance or switching it out to the poison that
he would slowly build up a tolerance to it because
like
that was her drug of choice, is the poison.
Yeah, exactly. And
as most women are, you know.
Yeah. And shit, I just lost my train of thought.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's
but
fine.
because he knew she was gonna poison him.
Yeah, and see, and the thing is like, could it be that maybe, you know, he was actually scared of her because she was freer? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So there was like no loyalty and no trust between each other because
so I mean, it's like because
so everybody's free game.
Yeah. So I mean, because she, you know, because she was freer and stuff like that. You know, it's like in that relationship, I feel like he felt he needed to watch his back more than she needed to watch her. You know, that kind of thing. Like I think.
Well, yeah, because I don't think he would have ever like killed her. I mean, meaning
well, she is the mother of his child.
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, I don't think it really wasn't until like she posed a threat to Marion or whatever.
So, yeah.
That like he kind of like lost his shit, and that's
because then he got the reason to protect Marion to take her out.
Yeah,
he was just looking for a reason to you know that's what I mean. Also, I don't think he would have killed Love without a reason. You know, Love would have just. Love had it was free game. Anybody was free game if it didn't suit Love's you know, family.
Yeah.
Her you know, and stuff.
Her whole thing.
Yeah, because she killed a lot of people too.
Yeah. I get that. No, I get that. But no, the thing is it's like the problem with Joe, or one of the many fucking problems with Joe, is that, you know, he was never going to find the right person. Ever.
No.
Because that person does not exist.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
You know, that like, you know,
the one that accepts you for being a killer, 100%, but yet still needs to be saved.
And isn't ever going to leave him.
Yeah.
But is a total damsel in distress, so that he could always make things better and blah, 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 blah.
Exactly.
Because it was only a matter of time. Like, even if Bronte/Louise never had her little, you know, like deprogramming session with Marion, right? And stuff. At some point, she would have said the wrong word. She would have looked at him just right. Or whatever and stuff.
Well, like that instance when he goes in to kiss and she kind of backs away and she's like, shit, he saw that. And then she had to cover for it. Exactly. That's exactly what you're talking about.
So, but see, the point is like, even if she wasn't conscious of that and she hadn't had her little, you know, deprogramming moment or whatever, she, for all we know, she could have, experienced a burp or something like that and like pulled back because she didn't want to burp in his mouth or something like that. He's the type of guy that would have interpreted that in the exact same way, even though she was still like head over heels and like completely snowballed by him and stuff. And he would take that because guys like that are never satisfied and stuff. And so, you know, and that's the whole thing.
And that was the other thing talking about never being satisfied. You know, he's with somebody, but then all of a sudden, like, somebody looks at him, you know, a certain way and is like, are you flirting? Oh, and then he's on to the next person.
He's always looking because he's one of those obsessive, you know, pieces of shit that, like, it's not so much about finding that girl and getting that girl and being with that girl. It's the hunt. It's the obsessive stalking, hunting that really, that's what he's really in love with.
And I understand that now. Like I said, after finishing the series and having my eyes open in season 5, I understand that now. But before, I didn't get it. I'm like, you're with somebody already who you think you're in love with. Why are you all of a sudden, oh, she gave you a look. Oh, now I'm infatuated with her. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know, like, and yes, exactly. That I didn't understand why he was always looking for the next, not looking, but like, if it presented itself, air quotes, you know, then he was on to the next one. And it was like, why?
And see, with him, there's always going to be a next one. Because like I said, it's about the hunt. It's about the ritual of stalking somebody. It's the hunt, it's the prey, it's the whole thing, and then it's the final bagging of the prey, whether it's getting her, willingly in the sack or killing her. You know what I mean? That's the whole purpose with.
Yeah, and I never got any of the rape. I mean, I didn't see it. Yes, you said, how many
Yeah,
times
no,
they knock
it's
him out.
implied, and basically.
See, and I never thought what is
well,
implied.
Because I mean, it's like, at some point he's knocked out every single one of
Right, but they were
these
always
girls
fully
and stuff.
clothed when they opened, when they,
If
woke
he can
up.
undress him, he can redress
I know.
him.
I never got that. Okay, like I said, unless it was in my face, I didn't know.
But I mean,
because he already had them. So why does he need to rape them?
It just makes sense. Well, because perhaps it's because he knows that when they're conscious, he's not going to get that. When they're unconscious, he is completely in control because he's a total fucking control freak.
Yes, he is.
So, I mean...
He even said that with Bronte, the whole, like, taking control back and giving control and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And seeing with her and that whole game where, he tied her up and then...
Blindfolded
and stuff
and all
like
bullshit,
that. That's part of the reason why I'm sure that's probably part of the reason why she survived for as long as she did, is because she willingly surrendered that over to him.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to drug her to get that.
Right.
I mean, and this is just our assessment. We have nobody blatantly came out and said that that's actually what he's doing.
Right. This is just our interpretation
although
of
Penn
what we saw.
Badgley did an interview where he's like, hello, of course he's doing this.
Oh, okay.
And
and I didn't know any of that.
And stuff. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense for such a control freak. He's completely fucking in love with them. And so it would make sense that he is fully assaulting them while they are unconscious. I mean, do you really think that after literally however long it was after he staged his death, ran away to Europe, and he finally sees Marianne out of the blue, completely unexpected. He had already, gotten right with himself that he was never going to see her in person ever again. And all of a sudden, she's there at a street fair in London.
Yeah.
What are the fucking chances of that? Of course he's going to take that as like, oh, this is fate and blah, 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 and stuff and everything.
Yeah.
And she reacts to him the way that she does. And, so of course he's going to take her. Of course he's going to, because he wants to be close to her again.
And she said that he kept her in there for weeks.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too. What about her daughter? She was missing for weeks. What did they tell her daughter? What did they, and stuff? She had a daughter at this point, and and stuff. And at this point, she's a teenage, 10, 12, something like that, when he catches up to her, and, so it just...
Okay, well, what my estimation is, probably the friend that took care of the daughter while Marion was gone for like a weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure that Marion probably told them the whole story about...
so if anything happens to me,
so,
this is what's
just
going
hang on to her, but by no means is she to go back to the States.
Yes.
And stuff. So...
Okay.
So I'm thinking that's probably, what happened.
Yes,
and stuff. So, yeah, so...
But yes, and that does make sense that, yes, after all that time and him seeing her and then him keeping her locked up for weeks.
So, of course, he's going to grab her. Of course, he's going to...
Take her
and stuff. And, and he was so completely in love with her, as I use air quotes.
Yes.
And stuff. You really think that he's not going to take the opportunity to be closer? I mean, he is completely fucking delusional. So for all we know, in his mind, because at this point he was already fucking seeing things. His personality had already split. He had already disassociated and everything like that. And stuff.
Yeah.
So for all we know, when he was in the act of doing that, if that's in fact what was going on, for all we know, she could have been conscious and a willing participant to him.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because I mean, we already figured out that he had another personality. It was having a total fucking Fight Club, issue going on, right? With this other guy, this other that like, was other killer that was like challenging him to do shit and stuff.
Oh, in season 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that was a fully functioning person to Joe.
Right.
That he was having
Who was
full-on conversations. Oh, was that politician?
That's
guy
right, the one that takes
like
out in the end.
That was like friends with the rich people, and stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, because he was all part of their little group. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah. The one he had a conversation with, and
one fucking time.
Yes, one time.
And then after that point, it was like, all of a sudden it's the other killer that's like challenging him, and I'm gonna do this if you don't do this, and blah 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 blah, and stuff like that. When it's all fucking figment of Joe's split personality disassociation, whatever the fuck mental illness title you want to give it.
Yes.
It's just all levels of fucked up. So, so who's to say that when Joe was with Marianne when she was drugged, that to him, she wasn't awake and a fully participant and everything like that?
Yeah, okay, yes. Yes, I, again, didn't think of any of that until...
I mean, and shit like that doesn't exactly... I mean, that shit can present itself over time. So, I mean, so for all we know, that could have been going on with Joe with, fucking Beck. It could have been going on with, even Love before he found out how fucked up she was. It could have been going on with, fucking the laundry list of bitches that fell victim to him.
Yes.
Even Kate, we don't know.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's like...
Yep.
Yeah, so it's totally within the realm of believability that Joe was doing very unspeakable, assaulty things to these women while he had them drugged. I mean, Jesus, he fucking twisted the shit out of Bronte/Louise's ankle just to hobble her so that way if she woke up and decided to try and fight and run, she would be hindered in doing that.
Yeah, that was a surprise. Because that's what I was thinking too. I was like, how did she twist her ankle? Like, what, when the guy grabbed her or something? Like, I don't know. Or maybe like when she was kicking, she actually kicked the bottom of the van or something like that. You know how like when you hit that bone on the outside of your ankle on things? I mean,
or maybe in the struggle and stuff like that, her foot got in between the van and the curb.
Yes, exactly. Something like that. Yeah.
And she fell and
stuff. Yeah, exactly. It was a total surprise to watch freaking him just snap. And it's like, holy shit, man.
Yeah, and it's like, and with that kind of motion and stuff, it's like, I'm surprised it wasn't broken. Exactly. So I'm like, but hey, okay, whatever. That's, but yeah, so I mean...
And I can't believe how far Bronte was under his spell, and stuff like that. She literally was catfishing him because she knew or thought that he killed Beck, which he did, but the whole, and then the fact that she just got snowballed by his, manipulation, his love, all this stuff because, she knew who he was, how he was going to act.
She seed of doubted him.
Exactly.
I'm a commercial airline pilot.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, she seeded doubted him, #slackers. But yeah, no. So, I mean, it's, and that was what Marianne was talking about in that little conversation that she had with Bronte/Louise, because, she's like, it's so easy to, with his manipulations and fall under that whole, like, he's the only one that sees you. He's the only one that understands you. He's the only one that loves you. He takes all of those tiny little things of self-doubt and, unworthiness that you have in yourself and says, I'm here, I see you, I love you, I accept you for all your faults and blah, 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 and stuff and everything. And she, she reminded her, why did you even start this out in the first place? Because Beck fell victim to his shit too.
Yep.
We all have. And stuff. I mean, so yeah, so it's just, but honestly, she personally knew Beck.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, they were friends. Beck was the one that was
mentoring her with her writing.
Mentoring her, inspired her, helped her keep, her love for wanting to do shit, even while she was over in Ohio taking care of her sick mom and everything and stuff. And she was so gutted by her friend's death.
Oh, I know, hearing it on the news.
Yeah. And then joining the chat group and getting on there and stuff like that. I mean, she realized just reading Beck's book that it wasn't completely written by Beck.
Yes.
And stuff. So yeah. So I mean, that would have been in my mind the whole fucking time. Right. It's like, okay, if this, no.
I don't know how she just got manipulated. I mean, actually, I do, because just like all the other women got manipulated by him and
really
stuff.
Good manipulators and stuff. I'm sure that they find that one little crack, that one little nugget that they can get on, feed, let it grow, and everything like that. Isolate, because I mean, hello, he did help isolate her. He gave her that fucking apartment.
Yeah.
And stuff. So she was seeing her friends less. Not that Joe knew that she had friends right. and stuff.
Exactly. Because at this point he thought she was
just so deep undercover.
Right.
And stuff. It's like those. It's you know, kind of like those cops and shit that like undercover cops, you know, like, oh, okay, so in the Rookie, the show, The Rookie,
Yeah.
right? You remember the one dude, his wife, she was a narcotics officer and stuff like that, and she got hooked on the very drugs that she was, you know, and everything, and she wound up leaving him and becoming a drug addict and everything like that. It's like, you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility to think that when somebody goes so deep undercover, that they completely get entrenched in the life and they have to do things that they normally wouldn't do, but to keep that cover up, and then before you know it, it's easier and easier and easier.
Yeah, well, and that's what Bronte / Louise said too. She, you know, when Marianne asked, "Do you want to be called Bronte or do you want to be called Louise?" And she's like, "I don't know.
Yeah,
you know, I don't know who I am anymore.
Yeah,
you know, kind of thing. Because, like you said, deep undercover. You know, you have to be this one person for your cover, but you lose sight of who you are.
Yeah,
you know, and stuff, and yeah. So I get it.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's like, did I enjoy watching Joe? Did I enjoy watching the story? Yes. But again, like I said, there was not one point where I was rooting for Joe to be successful in all of the things that he was doing.
The first couple seasons I was. Not rooting for him, but I was like, oh, how is he going to get out of this one?
Yeah.
Ooh,
no,
okay, that's good.
I get that.
Oh, you know, like, because you knew he's going to get out somehow.
Yeah.
You know, out of his situation somehow and stuff, but you weren't sure how or what somebody else was going to do to relay to the, you know, because sometimes people would do something and you're like, ooh, I can use that to benefit me in this way, you know, kind of thing and stuff. So I guess it could be called rooting, but it was really like, okay, how's he going to get out of this one?
Yeah,
ooh.
no.
And like I said, I thought he was very intelligent, yes, and which explains why he could get so many women. And I mean, what was it? Was it Jeffrey Dahmer? No. Which one was Bundy? Thank you. I knew which one. The Bundy, the cute one that could, you know, was very well spoken.
The very charming one. The one that was very well assimilated to regular, you know, everyday life. You know, I mean, he was a college student. He went to law school.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
He worked political campaigns. He fucking volunteered at a suicide hotline.
Yeah, and I feel like those ones are the more dangerous ones because they can get in. Just like Joe. Joe's more of the dangerous ones, you know, because he doesn't look off. He doesn't have social awkwardness. He can be that person.
But see, the thing is, though, he does have social awkwardness, just enough to make him cute and endearing.
Oh, okay, yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Makes him non-threatening.
Yes, exactly.
But isn't off-putting.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, look, he's a cute, little adorable puppy.
Because when I was watching the recaps and stuff like that, with like the last one with, you know, with Beck and everything, and it was like, I was, you know, brave when he saved her from the train. I was, what's the word? Vulnerable with the whatever. I was this, I was that, you know. He did these things to try and get her to, you know, and stuff. And everything. So like I said, it's just, that's why he could get away with so many things. He, you know, and I'm, like I said, I'm not, you know, Team Joe or anything. I'm just saying some of the stuff he did, you know, was very intelligent and, you know, thought-worthy. And
that's fine. No. If he wasn't a fucking serial killer, stalker, rapist guy, then, you know, I could see where, hey, go to fucking law school, go to fucking, you know, police academy or whatever. Or, you know, try and join the FBI. You know, something like that. Yeah. You know, put it to good use.
Exactly.
And stuff. But no, he was using it for the express purpose of tormenting.
Quote unquote finding love.
And, you know, tormenting, assaulting, and stalking these women and then ultimately murdering them.
Yes.
You know, so it's
when they didn't fit in his box.
But see, the thing is though, it's like they were never going to fit in his box ever.
Right.
So it's like, you know, so he's somebody that enjoyed the hunt of these women, and he also enjoyed getting rid of anybody else that got in his way. Right. Because like the one dude that tried to kidnap Bronte / Louise, right? Jimmy from Yellowstone.
I know, right? I was like, oh, Jimmy.
Yeah. You know, it's like, you know, he was sufficiently scared. He wasn't going to go to the cops. He wasn't going to go after Bronte / Louise again and everything like that. But yet Joe went and killed him anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly. There was no need to do that. Well, because, but no. Because it was proved in the past when he let that one dude go.
Oh, his little hacker friend?
Yeah, his little hacker friend.
Yeah, okay.
You remember? So it is possible that when you let somebody go, and look at Maddie, you know?
Oh, yes.
Exactly. Yes, she killed her sister, but even if Joe released that footage and stuff like that and everything, she had been locked in a box for weeks. She was under duress. He had mentally fucked with her. And
it didn't help that her sister
was a complete bitch
and tormenting her whole life also.
Exactly.
You know?
So I mean, so it would make, so she could have claimed temporary insanity.
Oh yeah, big time.
Whatever.
Yes.
And stuff like that. And so
I honestly didn't think she'd actually do it. I really thought that she was just going to be...
I
was hoping. Don't get me wrong. I was hoping. But I really thought that Maddie was too weak to actually follow through with it. And that
I think Reagan pushed her just a little. Because eventually, you know, a corner dog... is going to defend themselves. You know, so I mean, Maddie was backed into that corner.
Yeah, I'm very happy Maddie did it. I'm just saying, you know, like I wasn't, I had that little
don't get me wrong,
doubt that she wasn't
I do not advocate the killing of anyone, whether it be fictional or not, or, you know, in real life and stuff. But, you know, it's like, but I can understand why Maddie would do that. You know, it's like a battered woman who...
Reagan was very bad. She was so bad.
Yeah, no, because she was abusive to everyone in her life.
And the fact
she
that
was a
her
raging
twin sister,
cuntbag.
like, how you read that so mean to your twin sister?
To the point where she fucking manipulated and basically browbeat her into carrying a child for her. And stuff. With a man that she knew was in love with her, and she was in love with him. And stuff like that. And so it's like, so not only was it, you know, because I'm sure she didn't want to ruin her body, quote unquote, with the pregnancy and stuff, but it was also a special form of torture. You know, to realize, oh, I'm gonna force you to have a child with a man that you love, and he obviously loves you, but I'm also going to raise that child right in front of your face, and just rub it in even more.
Not give her love or anything, just be mean the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because I mean that was killing Maddie when she was trying to be Reagan and she couldn't, you know, console her daughter. She had to be a bitch to her.
And when she like delivered the line, you know, stop being such thin-skinned cunts.
Yes,
it's like, whoa, okay, It was like
Maddie was getting lost, and she and then
which is why she was like kind of losing her shit and was in the living room burning sage and shit.
Yes, and then freaking went to the bathroom to try and become Reagan. And
I know she was starting to have like a Joe level split.
Oh, big time, talking to herself in the mirror,
playing both roles.
Yeah.
I mean, she was like getting to the point where it's like it wasn't play acting anymore. She was really having a conversation with Reagan there.
Yes, she was.
So it's like,
especially to Kate. Kate, that sounded to Kate like they were having a conversation. That's why she's like, "Where's Reagan?"
Yeah,
you know?
because that's how good she was channeling Reagan.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So it's like
Maddie was getting broken.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's one thing I am happy about at the end, where you know Maddie got to be with the guy. You know,
she got to be able to be a mother to her daughter,
and then
she got to have another child and stuff.
Twins.
So, yeah, exactly.
Pregnant with twins. Yeah. But Maddie's gonna love them.
Well, yeah, because that's also, you know, I'm sure that Reagan, that whole personality thing was also nature.
Yes.
And stuff. But nurture also comes into play in that as well, because look at Henry.
Yes.
Right? I am so glad at the end that Henry said, Mom was right. You are the monster.
Yes.
He's like, you remember when, you know, I said that there's no monsters in my bed, and you said that there's no monsters in my room, but you lied.
Yes.
You are the monster.
Yes.
I was like, thank fucking God, because I did not want them to, like, especially when, like, at the end when Kate was tucking him in and she was in the bed with Henry.
Yes.
And stuff.
And he looked at her that weird way.
And he, like, turned over and he looked at her. I was like, shit.
I know.
Don't pull out a knife and don't start killing Mom and shit. I don't want this to be, like, the you know, like a continuation of Joe or anything like that. So
that's why I was so happy when he was like, what did you do to Mommy? You know, and stuff like that. And then he's like, what are you talking about? You know, kind of thing. And it's like, you know.
Yeah, because I'm sure at that point, Kate was in the hospital and all that shit and everything. And I'm sure, you know, like he overheard that Daddy shot Mom.
Exactly.
Daddy left Mom.
Especially since he was at home with his uncle.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm glad that, like, so that's where that whole, like, nature versus nurture comes into play. I'm glad that the nurture,
and I'm glad that Kate was so nurturing to him, even though he wasn't biologically
hers. Yeah,
you know, and stuff. Kate was a straight up mother to him.
Oh yeah, that's why she was fighting so hard for to
custody.
get him away from Joe.
Yes.
and stuff, because you know, it was obvious that Love was completely fucked up in the head and stuff, even though Joe, you know, said, oh, she tried to kill me, blah, blah, blah. But the fact is, everybody knows that she took that couple hostage and kept them in the box for so long. And I fucking love those two.
Oh my gosh, I
really
know.
do. I love those two so much. I mean, they're such a pain in the ass, and I would never want to spend time with them ever in real life.
Yeah, no.
Because it would just drive me fucking nuts and stuff. But I'm so glad that they survived.
Yeah, they survived. They came together.
They thrived.
Yes.
They turned their tragedy into, you know,
yeah,
a business
strength,
for themselves,
yes,
a strength
exactly.
and stuff, and they didn't split up and
Yes,
everything.
yes.
And stuff. So yeah, and I love that it was that dude. You know, like,
your boobs are
what the fuck
stupendous.
is his name? What the fuck is his
I don't
name?
know, man.
It's like Van Winkle or something like
Is
that.
it? I don't know.
Yeah,
I just
or
remember
something along the, like, Travis something. Anyway, but yeah, no, because ever since, you know, like, he's been in a shit ton of stuff.
So
but
many
ever
things.
since Friday the 13th,
Yes,
remake
with
with Jared
Padalecki,
Padalecki.
yeah.
Oh my god, just the sex scene when he's like, "Your tits are so juicy, dude." It was
Yeah.
just the way
And
he was
stupendous.
That's right.
Stupendous.
It's so stupendous. It's like,
I don't-
really, dude? Who wrote this fucking script?
Yes, and I seriously, I don't know if I.
But it fit. It totally worked.
Oh, it totally did, but I would have laughed. I'd been like, really, man?
Oh,
That's
God,
what
we
you
did. We did laugh when it happened. That was one of those ones where that was one of those moments when we were sitting there watching Friday the 13th remake in the theater.
Yeah.
We busted up laughing, and people around us looked at us like, and I'm sitting there looking at him going, why aren't you laughing? He just used the word stupendous
during sex.
during sex to describe her tits.
Yes.
You know, it's
Like,
like,
hello?
what?
Nobody listens to the dialogue.
No.
Are they listening to the words coming
Yeah,
out of your mouth?
I don't get that. Either that or they just don't,
I
the
know.
subtlety of some lines or something like
Right?
that, because
Like-
we were laughing fucking a lot during, what was it, Speak No Evil?
Yes.
And that was when Flint like leaned over and was
He's
like,
like,
you know, it's a horror movie,
Yeah, it's a
right?
horror
like,
movie,
yeah,
yeah.
we're fully aware. It was
Right?
fucking hilarious.
Exactly. The way he delivered some of the lines, the lines that he said, like, hello,
His
the
choice
icon,
of song.
right? The eye contact when he's singing that love song to the guy next to him, like, hello,
Yeah.
you don't think this is funny?
Yeah.
This is so weird and awkward. It's funny. Like,
Yes,
hello.
exactly. It's completely fucked up. It
Right.
Just, it's so fucked up. It's laughable.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Yeah. What the
You
hell
know,
are
it's
y'all
like-
watching?
That's what I don't get. You know, and so it's like with. But anyway, to get back to you and stuff. But yeah, no, I really liked that guy. So whenever I see him in stuff,
Oh,
I'm
yes.
like, oh, and it had been so long since I had actually seen
Yes.
him in anything that when I was watching season 3,
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, hey,
Yes.
I'm so glad.
So-
I'm so glad you're still in the business doing shit. I
Yeah,
love
so
that.
watching the recaps and stuff like that, and that episode, I forgot that Joe goes out with them for their, like, guy weekend or
Oh,
whatever.
yes, that's right.
and
That's right.
stuff, and they're like, oh, we're men, and we're gonna hunt, and da-da-da-da-da, and
I
stuff.
gotta say, a portion of when I was watching that, I was expecting to start fucking each other.
Right? I was just
That was like,
I was like, dude, what is happening out here? Are guys really like this? What is going on? I was
Yeah.
like, this is...
I mean, and that would have been totally fine if that's,
Oh, yeah,
if that's
totally.
what they
But
wanted
I
to
was
do.
just like-
But I'm just like,
I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting there going, what? I was like, is this
you know,
really?
especially when it came out a little bit later on down the road that you find out that he and his wife are swingers.
Yes.
And they asked Love and Joe
To join.
To join.
And then they start chasing him around. And, you know, because then they overhear that she killed so-and-so for
the
Joe.
Joe and her,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
start having that argument.
Yeah. And stuff, and then they're like, oh shit, let's just play along. And then, you know, the one gets away, go get him, and then I'll take it, you know, and then
Yeah.
that's how they end up in the cage.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fun little thing. You know, you invite them into your bed, and then all of a sudden, but you invited serial killers into your
Yeah. And I just, and it's like, and I, it sucks that it took him so long to find the extra key. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
because in the box, you know, Joe always keeps a hidden
Yes,
key, so that way
yes.
if he gets locked in the box, he has an escape route.
Yes.
And Love had the same idea.
Yes.
And so I'm so glad that there was at least 2 options for them to find.
Right.
So that way they could
And I'm
get
glad they
out.
finally figured it out. They're like, okay, there's got to be, like, let's think about this.
Because why would there be a lock on the inside?
Exactly.
If there wasn't a key to
Right.
have. So yeah,
Right.
so I'm
That,
so
again, that's why I'm glad that they finally,
Yeah.
like, stopped, communicated, worked out their shit.
Yeah.
Come on, honey, let's do this. You know, and became
We're
a
a
team.
team.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I know. I was very happy that those guys lived. I was very happy
Yes.
that they finally came together.
I love
you know.
that it's like teamwork makes the dream work. I just
Exactly.
love that,
Exactly. You know.
So yeah, but but the thing was like season 5 and stuff and everything. With
the key in his arm.
Yeah, he hid it in his arm.
Yeah.
Like okay.
Like, how fucked up do you think this is gonna go to where you think that you have to put a key in your arm?
Exactly.
You know, like, and I did love when all the women showed up and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is fun. Yeah, like I said, episode 9 was fun because I was like, oh, she showed up. I was like, and seriously, when Marion showed up, I was like, oh my god, thank you. I really thought you were dead.
That to happen. I was waiting.
Oh, were you? I didn't because
where did you miss the episode where Nadia went and woke her up?
Woke who up?
Marion on the bench.
Did she?
Yes. They flashed that back in season 5 when, Kate, or no, when, they flashed back to it and they showed Nadia because Nadia had like some sort of blockers and stuff like that. They switched out the pills that, the pain pills that Joe left for Marion for her arm and shit, and she refused to take them and stuff. And then that's how, she like OD'd and stuff. When Nadia went back, they switched the pills out with these pills that, that was all part
slowed
of the
your
plan.
heart rate or
slowed
whatever.
The heart rate and stuff like that. Joe left her on the thing because she left the note saying, leave my body so my daughter won't be wondering and stuff like that. Yeah. Left her on the bench. Nadia waited for him to leave. She went. She gave her an injection to counteract
I remember all that.
Yeah. And she helped Marion escape. And then it was after that that Nadia,
I guess I just forgot about that part. Because yes, I remember seeing all that.
So I knew Marion was alive.
Oh,
because because they talked about the whole thing where like she grabbed Marion's phone, switched out the phone number of her friend with Nadia's, and Nadia sent the text saying, like Juliet's mother or grandmother came and got custody of her. And thinks that they set that whole fucking thing up.
Oh, right.
So that way Marion could escape.
Yes. I forgot all about that.
So I knew Marion was going to be coming back at some point.
Oh, okay. No,
I really think that if Marion
apparently I got sucked into the show and completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yes. No, yes.
Yeah. So I was waiting for Marion to show up. That was not a surprise to me.
Oh, it was to me because I forgot all about that.
And stuff. But
that had been so long. Like, I'd watch all 4 seasons, and it had been so long for season 5.
She left to go do other shit.
Well, that's my point. But that's what I'm saying. I totally, like I said, it just seemed like it was so long between season 4 and season 5 that I was just, and I'd watched it when it had first come out that I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
So it was a surprise to me when she showed up, and I was like, oh, yay, Marion!
Yeah. And
Bronte's look on her face, and she like knocks on the thing, and stuff.
I mean, for me, that would have been enough to like break the fucking spell that Joe had on me.
Yeah.
Because, she did her research. She knew about Marion.
We tried to find you. Yeah.
We tried to find you and the whole bit and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and then when she says, I did this to escape Joe.
Yeah.
And so for me, I wouldn't have needed that little speech from Marion about, what Joe does and everything like that. Well, yeah, because one, I would have needed the speech
because I'm oblivious to a lot of things. Apparently, I would have needed the speech.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but no, I mean, it's like if it had been me, like.
Yes, well, if it had been you wouldn't have got sucked into Joe's shit. Okay.
Yeah, no, I would have been. You're creepy and weird. You need to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. Yeah. Like just randomly running into him in places and stuff like that. It's like. Yeah, that's weird, but I would have had my eye open.
Yeah, I know. And because you're smarter than a lot of us.
Well, that I'm also paranoid as fuck, and I watch a lot of true crime.
That's true, you do too.
And I've been reading true crime
I feel like I'm a lot more
high.
trusting.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's just, I don't know where I got this, very suspicious, mind or whatever and stuff. But also, and then when you've got your dad saying, keep your eyes open. Pay attention.
Head on a swivel.
Yeah, exactly. And he's been giving me that, like my whole life and stuff. So, and it makes sense because when a woman leaves the house, you have to be on guard with the way that, men's mentalities. And I'm not
like
saying
when Marion said that too. Yeah. She was like, my daughter, goes out, has friends, she sneaks out, blah, blah, blah.
Because I'm paranoid that she's going to meet a Joe.
Yes, someone just like you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
But I like that she doesn't keep her in a box.
Yes.
And stuff.
Yeah.
Because she just wants her to be prepared for a Joe.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
And stuff. But yeah, no. So I mean, So I mean, and it's like, and I feel like we got to talk about season 1 a little bit because I want to talk about like it was really nice to see Shay Mitchell, even though she was playing such a huge fucking bitch.
Oh my god, big time.
And
who was obsessed with Beck too.
Yes.
Just not as stalkery. I get. Well,
Yeah,
she was
well,
stalkery.
like, she was stalkery, but you didn't feel like Beck was gonna die at some point.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know, I think that like, what was her name? Peach. The
Yes,
character named
Peach. Yes.
I feel like she would have tried. And then eventually she probably realized it was never going to happen. And then she would
dropped her
probably
like
have
a bad habit.
Either she would have just ended the friendship altogether, or she would have been like, well, if I can't have her like that, I would rather her have her as a friend as nothing at all.
Yeah.
Either one of those two scenarios. But death is not one of the scenarios
right,
that
no.
I would think would
no.
happen and stuff. But she was such a raging bitch.
Yes.
That like...
She had to go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't advocate the killing of anybody,
No.
but for these purposes and stuff.
Yes.
And it's like, and I can't say that like, because then I would be kind of hypocritical, because I was thinking about like, is there much difference? Because like, okay, in the sense that like at the end of each season, Joe always managed to figure out a way or plan a way out. Like, how is he going to get out of this kind of stuff and everything? And it's like, okay, one of my all-time favorite shows is Sons of Anarchy, and it's the same thing. How is Jax and the club gonna get out of this one? How is he gonna get out of this one? And he does a lot of shit that I do not agree with and stuff.
I mean, sure, that one season he just was killing everybody.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, he was avenging the death of his wife.
Right.
So
well,
like,
so he just was starting to kill anybody who said, you know,
that got in his way.
Got in his way, or said, "Oh, I think it was this guy." Well, we're gonna torture him and kill him now.
Yeah.
And then, oh no, it wasn't you. Oh, you know.
No. So
he killed so many people.
Yeah, no, he killed so many people, and yes, that's one of my favorite shows and stuff. But that doesn't mean that I think Jax is a good guy.
Right,
I still think Jax is a piece of shit. He totally is.
Yeah.
For everything that he did, he totally is.
Yeah.
And stuff. And so yeah. So it's like, but see, the thing is though, it's like when you look for me.
Yes.
Jax is a much more likable character as opposed to Joe. Because Jax was always upfront about his shit.
Yes.
And yeah, he did what he did for the good of his club. He did shit that, quite honestly, that's just the business model for the business that his club and all of the criminal underworld is in and stuff. So it's like, so there was nothing creepy and stalkerish, and
because you knew what you were getting.
Yeah,
he's
always
in a criminal biker gang.
Yeah,
what do you expect a criminal biker to do?
Exactly, that's
take people out and get things done.
That is the difference
for their cause.
That is the difference.
Yes,
it's like, you know, he was very upfront about his killing and everything like that. He knew if he got caught, he'd get caught. He'd have to do time, whatever, and stuff like that. You know, Joe, he specifically hunted these people. He specifically stalked. That's the difference for me and stuff.
And so, again, all that didn't really occur to me until season 5.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, doing the recaps, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And see, and the thing is like, so yeah, just to be fair and stuff, it's like, I love the show Sons of Anarchy. I absolutely do. And Mayans. But the thing is though, is like, it doesn't mean that I condone or advocate what Jax did. You know what I mean? It's two different flavors of evil, so to speak.
Yes.
So yeah, so I don't condone any of the actions that Jax did in that show and stuff like that. And I don't condone any of the actions that Joe did in this show and stuff like that. I think part of the reason why I have such a hard time with you and Joe and everything like that is just because Joe is a more likely scenario that'll happen to an everyday woman.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's like, you have to go and seek out motorcycle gangs to interact with these type of guys and stuff. It's not like they're just randomly on the street. And the upshot is like, when they're usually wearing a cut that advertises that
who
I'm
they
a
are.
bad dude.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean? Or I may be an okay guy, but I do bad shit.
Right.
You know, so there's like a huge neon
sign. They have a
saying,
sign on that. Yeah.
This is what I got going on and stuff. Whereas Joe, he's sneaky and you don't see. And the thing is, in this day and age, there's a lot more Joes walking out on the street every single day.
Yes.
Because of the whole fucking toxic masculinity shit that's going on in the world today. Yes. That's the whole point of that whole like bear versus man debate with women and stuff. And men can't figure out why women are choosing the bear.
Wait, what?
Okay, so there's this thing. Would you rather be... encounter a bear out in the woods, or encounter a man out on the streets, and glaringly, women most always say, I'd rather take my chances with the bear.
Okay.
Okay, and the thing is because when you interact with a bear, you gotta be out in the woods to interact with the bear. And there's no question about, like, oh, is the bear gonna hurt me or not? You walk in, you already know the bear's gonna hurt you. And chances are, the bear hurts you, it's only gonna hurt you once.
Yeah.
Or it's gonna kill you once, right?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. With a man, you walk out the door, you can encounter that at any point in time.
Okay.
And it's unrecognizable. And the thing is most sexual assault cases and stuff that usually happens by somebody that the person knows.
Yes.
And stuff. So...
And trust.
Exactly. And the chances are that you're going to have to interact with that person again, over and over and over. So the attack never fucking ends. Yes. That's why the vast majority of women choose, I would rather take the bear, because at least I know what I'm getting.
Yes. Oh, okay.
And the pain and whatever is going to be minimal, or not minimal, but like,
it's going to be a
one-time thing and stuff. And also, these women, they don't have to worry about the bear raping them.
Yes, that's true. Yes, they're just going to maul them.
So like, a lot of men out there can't understand that whole mentality.
Are you serious?
Yes.
You just explained it. How do they not understanding?
Because they're so stuck in their incel.
You just explained it.
Yeah, no, because they're so stuck in their incel shit that, like, they would rather blame the women, like it's women's problems, that they don't want to be with a man and stuff like that, rather than looking at themselves saying, what am I doing that's making this woman feel unsafe around me to where that she doesn't want to be with me.
Did you just see that video that Bradley Thor did? About how he gets comments all the time.
Yeah, I saw that.
About how, like, it's if men were catcalling women, it's not the same thing, and blah blah blah. Even though women are catcalling him, and blah blah blah.
and
he explained it's different because you guys have been doing this since the beginning of time. And now women are finally like.
Yeah, and then how he also said, well, and like for those commenters to say, hey, men can be raped too. And it's like, yeah, the vast majority of them, though, are being raped by other men.
Yes.
It is like such a slim percentage of women who actually rape men.
Right.
You know what I mean? And stuff. And so the vast majority of men who do get raped are by other men. And so it's like, so that argument is not
I really like that video
as most people think it
exactly. And I really like that video and how he explained it and everything. And that's another reason why I like Bradley Ford.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a problem when women walk out the door not feeling 100% safe.
Right.
That there's always going to be somebody out there that, and it's not just that. It's also the whole mentality that women are less than. And it's like, and I don't need this to turn into a whole, like, feminist, rant or whatever and stuff like that. Right. It's just like, these are the facts of the world that's going on right now in this day and age and stuff like that. I am by no means a man hater or anything like that. I've just, it's like, am I with anybody? No. And I haven't been with anybody in a really long time. That's only because I feel secure within myself that I'm okay to be alone. I'm not actively looking for anybody because I'm totally fine being self-contained. I'm totally fine.
Yes.
And stuff. But, it just, with the way that I see things in the world and the other men that I have interacted, it's like, there's nothing there that, like, makes me, oh, you know what? I think I want to join a dating site and see and try and find somebody. You know what I mean? No. Because it's like, because I just don't,
Well, that, and I feel like nobody's true on those.
Yeah. Or just even meeting people in person and everything like that. And so it's just, but I mean, the way the world is right now and stuff, it's like, and with the whole, they want to take all of our rights away and stuff. And the whole reason why they're doing this is because they don't want women to be self-sufficient. They don't want, because, they don't feel needed and stuff and whatever and stuff. And so they're scared of losing their power, when really it's like, yo, if you just like backed the fuck off and we're cool and stuff, we'd be more than willing to work with you, and you'd be more willing to
work as a team.
Yeah, exactly.
Why does one have to be more superior than the other? We both need each other for certain reasons.
Yeah.
So
I mean, so it's whatever. I didn't want to get into this,
but to be fair, a lot of kind of pertaining to what's going on.
Yeah, a lot of the themes that because I like to think that, like, a lot of the women that Joe picked were women that thought they were
damsels in distress.
well, no.
Oh, need to be
thought
saved?
no thought that they were strong, independent.
Oh.
Because like Beck / Louise, she went to New York City with this whole thing and stuff, and so I mean, she didn't need anybody. She went undercover and everything like
right,
that and
okay.
stuff. I don't think she thought of herself as a damsel in distress.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It wasn't until Joe zeroed in on shit and started picking at it and started
okay.
making her doubt in herself.
Yes.
And
Planting
stuff.
that seed of doubt.
Exactly. And stuff. And it's like, and the same thing with Beck. Beck, here she's working in the city. Or, I mean,
Yeah.
she's going to, what was it, Columbia or some shit like that
Something
or whatever.
like
But
that.
anyway, she was going to school. She was working jobs and stuff. She
Yeah.
was living on her own.
Yeah. She
Living
wasn't
her
taking
dream.
money from a rich friend.
Yeah, exactly. She was living her dream. Yeah, was it an exhausting, hard one? Yes, but she was, like
She
a
was doing it.
self-independent woman that was
Yes.
making her life work. She was doing what she wanted to do and stuff
Yes.
and everything. And then Joe, he found all those cracks and all those seeds and
See?
decided
You're right.
that she needed to be saved.
Same
And
with Marion, she was...
every single woman.
Yes, everyone.
Because even Love,
Yes.
because here she was a strong, independent woman that was like a chef
business owner, yeah.
business owner, chef, whatever, and stuff like that. And then, she had lost her husband, and we found out it's because she killed him.
Yeah, because
But-
he was going to leave her.
Exactly. And so maybe that was part of the reason why Joe fell out of love with her.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was strong. She was
Yeah.
independent.
And
She
she could
started
handle
operating
herself.
without Joe's help by killing people without
Yes.
his permission or
Yes.
input or help or anything like that.
Yes.
She didn't need him. He knew that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
Yes.
it's like, so
I wonder if she wasn't as sloppy, if he would have been not as distant,
yeah, like maybe if he had said, hey, let's work together and say, hey, listen, so the next time you get this urge, just take 5 minutes, count
Yeah.
to 5, call me.
Right.
And I'm not saying we won't do it. I'm just
Yes.
saying let's
Figure it out.
brainstorm about how we can do it
Yes.
so that way it's
Yeah,
less
because there was a
sloppy.
good handful of them where she just reacted.
Uh-huh.
Like that one, something, I forget who she killed in the restaurant store, that woman. Who was it? I don't know. But anyway, she was like...
Oh, the realtor?
Yes, that
the
was it.
neighbor that, she thought Joe and her were having the affair.
Yes,
that kinda
that's right. Yes,
kickstarted
yes.
this whole fucking thing.
Yes, that's right.
with
Yes,
Love.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Because I was like, who is that woman? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, which kind of kickstarted the whole fucking thing. And so they kind of had to take that building, so that way Love
Right.
could open up her bakery and shit and stuff
Yes.
and everything. So that kickstarted the whole fucking thing.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yes.
And stuff. So I
But
mean,
yeah,
it's like,
she
so
just
maybe
reacted.
if
She didn't
yeah,
fight.
so maybe if Love had said like, okay, this bitch needs to go, I need to plan.
Yes, like
And
Joe
stuff.
does.
Exactly. So I mean, and
But at this point, though, Joe was like starting his little romantic fantasy with her, though.
with Marion, yeah.
No, not man. I thought he had.
Oh, I'm sorry, the neighbor. That's
yeah,
right,
yeah,
yes.
the neighbor. Yeah, and stuff.
And how quick?
So
and
I
how
don't think
quick does he go from his obsession with the neighbor
to Marion. I know.
It's like, Joe, you're such a fickle little bitch.
But that's my point, though. If Love had said, "Okay, we need to take care of this woman," I don't think Joe would have been on board, because at this point he's got this fantasy in her head,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. So at this point, Love had to kind of just do what she had to do and stuff, and then Joe had to deal with the consequences,
Yeah.
and stuff, and it worked out for a little bit until it
Yeah.
didn't.
yeah. And I mean, it's like, and I also want to like say, just so that way with everything that I said, I don't think that all men are problematic. I really don't.
Oh,
It's
yeah, no.
just to like a little caveat. This is sort of like a little disclaimer kind of thing and stuff. I don't want anybody listening to this thinking that I'm like a total man hater. I'm not. And it's like, and I don't think that all men are problematic and anything like that. I'm just saying, I'm just merely using it as a point for how the state of the world is today.
Yes.
That's all. But I'm not saying that all men are like that and
Right.
stuff. So, but unfortunately, because the show is that it is, Joe is the perfect example of that problematic man, like an extreme
Yes.
case scenario of that problem man that is going on in the world today. And they covered that with I forget what his character name was, but Jimmy.
Oh, yeah, I
the
forget
dude
his
that tried
yeah.
to kidnap Bronte
Yeah.
/ Louise and
Yes.
stuff. Because that's exactly the type of guy that's on the forums today
Uh-huh.
and stuff that has that thing about, women and stuff,
Yes.
and felt the need that he had to go kidnap her
Uh-huh.
and do whatever it was the motherfucker had zip ties in the back of his car.
Right.
So what exactly was he planning to do with her?
Exactly.
That's the thing. So if Joe hadn't stepped in, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, and it's like,
All
so,
because of
yeah,
what people were saying
and
on
I'm
the
not
internet.
saying it was a good thing that Joe, I mean, what I was
Mhm.
trying to say, but.
Did you like how the last line though before it ended was, maybe it's not me, maybe it's
Yeah,
you.
I know. Oh my God. That's the thing. That was the thing. I'm like, Joe.
I was like, oh,
Joe.
okay.
It is 150% you, Joe. It's you. I mean, granted, I'm not.
Not according to those letters.
No, I know. And
Because
that
those bitches are psycho too.
Yeah, no,
Fuck.
and that totally plays into what I was just talking about. It's just
Yes.
the state of the world today.
Yes.
I get that. However, Joe, it is 100% you. Stop trying to displace the accountability for your fucking actions.
Well, he did that the whole time.
The society is not the one that stalked these women, that sexually assaulted them, that did all this shit, that committed these murders and did all of this shit, not only in like fucking New York, but over the entire country.
Yes.
And fucking Europe.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, so dude.
That's the other thing too. How did he get a fucking professor job over in Europe or England, whatever it was,
Well, I mean, he's got that little hacker friend that
Oh,
did all
that's
the
right.
fucking paperwork
Oh, that's
for him
right,
and
right,
stuff.
right. Okay.
That's why they were waiting in that house, so that way.
That's right.
like,
I
he
forgot
could get-
about that guy.
Yeah, so he could get the fucking
Passports and shit.
passports
Yeah,
and
yeah.
shit for
Yes,
Bronte
and
slash
and
him
be able to
and
talk to Henry. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
forgot about that guy. Because I
Yeah.
was like, how the fuck does Joe just,
Yeah.
because he's well read, he can just
Uh-huh.
become a professor? What?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so I mean,
Sorry,
it's
yes.
like, wouldn't take much to get like a diploma, fake records or some
Yes.
shit like that and stuff. So I mean, it's
all
like,
about who you know, right?
Exactly. So I mean, it's
Didn't somebody say he didn't have friends? Who was, I think it was Maddie. Who are you gonna call? You don't have any friends or some
Yes.
shit?
yeah, yeah. Because really, when you think about it, it's stuff like he really didn't have friends.
No, he didn't.
It's
Nope.
like he had coworkers. Like in the first season, what was the dude's name that worked at Mooney's with him? The chubby dude with the beard.
Yeah, shit. I forget. But I
Was
know.
it Ethan or something like that.
I think so. Something
The one
like
that like when when all the shit started coming out about Joe and everything like
Yeah.
that, and they were interviewing people that knew him in the past
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
And he's like, I work with him. He's a cool dude, but yeah, no, he was
yeah.
And he's like,
Yeah.
good on you, Ethan. At least I can count on somebody. And then Ethan started saying all this other shit and
Yeah.
stuff and everything. Like, I always thought that the basement was haunted, but now I'm realizing that no,
Yeah.
it's just Joe is a creepy fucking dude.
Yeah,
Whatever it
well,
was
that's
he
what I'm
said.
saying. He didn't
Yeah.
know because he didn't pay attention that much.
Uh-huh.
He just coworker, okay, cool. Every interaction he had with him, it was fine.
And
But
for
then
all we know, that could be the sole reason why Ethan is alive to this
Exactly,
day.
because
it was completely fucking oblivious and didn't
Yeah.
pick up on the cues.
right, exactly. Kind of feel like me. 'Cause I missed a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, cues, not.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I just.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's like, yeah, no, I mean, in some respects, I'm sure that it's great to be kind of fucking oblivious in that respects. But,
No, it's
but
not. I feel like
but I know that if I was working at that shop with Joe,
Yeah.
I would probably saw all these shit as red flags.
Yes.
And would have been like,
And I would have
I
seen
probably
these
would have
things.
quit my job.
Yeah, I would have seen these things and been like, oh, it's fine. Like, justified it some other way or something like that until you said something.
Uh-huh.
And then I'd be like, oh, wait, yeah, no, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
a big
okay.
fat nope. I'm quitting. Bye, Joe.
Something like that, yeah. Or it would have been Ethan and just been like, every interaction I had with him was fine.
Either that or I would have just acted oblivious and shit and just like start
Yeah.
documenting shit like it's fucking work and
Yeah.
whatever and stuff and like take that shit to HR, except instead of HR it would be
Use
the
police.
NYPD.
Yeah, the police.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And stuff. So yeah,
So.
so it just yeah.
Yes. Well, good for you for having good instincts. I have
Again-
50-50 instincts.
Again, I don't know why I have such a paranoid brain. I don't understand. Maybe it's because I started reading true crime when I was in junior high, you know,
Yes.
back in like 1989, 1991, that kind of thing and
Yes.
stuff. So,
So
back
you-
when you had to go to a bookstore, buy
Yes.
a true crime book instead of just going on the fucking internet,
Right.
you know?
So, well, yeah, there you go. Now, so you've been attuned to all these red flags
Yeah.
longer than other people.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I just like to read, so that just,
Yep.
whatever. And then plus also reading Stephen King in elementary school, so just,
Yeah.
know,
well, good
so-
for you, overachiever. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
well, no, it's just, to particular.
I know,
I don't
what
think
you
I'm
like.
better than anybody else. It's
I
just that's
know.
my particular thing that I started doing when I was young. I'm just an avid reader. That's
Yes,
all.
yes.
So I
I
mean,
know,
it's like
I'm
you
just
have
giving
your
you
things
shit.
that you know
Yes.
whatever and stuff. But yeah, no, it's just I don't. Yeah, no, Joe just creeped me the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because and seeing the thing is like going back to Sons of Anarchy and shit. It's like Jax was always up front with how he was. Tig was always up front with how he was. Same with every other guy that's in that fucking club.
Yes.
They never tried to hide it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Joe, he hid it.
Yes.
You know, he always hid his creepiness. He always hid this and stuff and everything. So yeah, so it's like that's the fucking difference.
Yeah, because what was it, season 4 and 5, where he was like, oh, he started to let certain people, like see certain sides. Oh, they might love me for me now. They might, like the biggest one was in season 5 with Bronte, and stuff. Oh, she sees me for me. I can let her in and da 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 kind of thing.
Well, yeah, and it's like, but I mean, the ones that did see it, like, were the ones that got killed. Like, because like Gemma, the one friend that, was like when they were sitting at dinner when they went on that away trip and stuff like that,
yeah.
she started like, none of our friends started dying until you showed up.
Right?
And I was like, and you're creepy. You don't got a lot of, just,
and I was like, anybody?
Uh-huh.
Anybody?
Yeah.
No.
But I feel like I feel like she got discounted because she was the mouthy, annoying friend out of the group.
Oh, she
that
totally
always
did,
said
but she
really
was so
rude,
right.
inappropriate things, and so people kind of like just she's talking about being rude, blah blah blah. And so that worked in Joe's favor.
It did, but but when she said that, I was like, hello, no
like,
bells
why
are
is
going
nobody
off.
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
Exactly. I was like, no bells, guys, no bells, no. Okay.
Oh, so it wasn't until you started working with Malcolm at. That is his name, right? The dude that first got killed in England, and
I
stuff,
believe
the neighbor,
so.
right? Yeah. It's like you start working with him, and then just a few months or whatever it is later, he ends up dead, and then right after that, and it's right after you start hanging out with them,
right?
Or the night that you go hang out with them for the first time.
Exactly. I was like,
he gets killed.
Hello, coincidence?
The first time these people fucking meet you.
Yeah.
And one of them dies.
Right.
And then it's not long after that another friend dies, that artist kid.
Exactly.
Right?
Like, nobody clicks this together except the asshole one.
Uh-huh.
The drunk, mean one.
Yeah. So it's like...
And the fact that she thought of it, then how come nobody else is thinking about it?
Well, the only thing I can think of is
they're
like
rich
all
and they're
rich,
whatever.
self-absorbed, whatever, and stuff. They got their own shit going on and stuff. And also, it's like, that type of shit is kind of absurd. Nobody wants to think that, like their person that they're interacting with is capable of that.
Right.
It's that whole mentality, like, yes, I know crime happens, but it happens to everybody else.
Right.
It's like, just all of this different shit that's going on in the world today and stuff. It's like a lot of people that, they don't say anything because it's like, oh, well, that's happening to them, not me. It's never happened to me. But I mean, that's the same mentality when it comes to, that's always been the mentality when it comes to just crime in general and stuff like that. People, when they leave the house, it's like, oh no, other people get mugged. People like me don't get mugged. It's like, no, you just need to be at the right place at the right time, and it can happen random. It's just, it can happen to anybody. Because I mean, remember that time that, Mark and Melissa were at the movies that one time, some dude ripped off a purse and Mark went chasing off after her and stuff like that. It's like, you don't think that, like you're gonna get your purse ripped off you when you're leaving the movies. Right. And so, but yeah, no, that shit can happen. Paying attention. Exactly. So I mean, so and
he thought that the mugger thought, or well, Robert, I don't know, the thief.
Mugger,
thought that, because Mark was a bigger guy that
he wouldn't be able to move that fast.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's so quick for a big guy and stuff. Yeah. No, my brother's on it.
Yeah. So I mean, so it's
in certain circumstances.
Yeah. So that applies to the same thing. Like, it's, you're sitting around your friends, you're rich, you think the world can't touch you and stuff like that. So of course they're not going to be like, yeah, you know what, you're right. Oh my God, we have a killer in our midst. Right. You know what I mean? They're not gonna think that because they're all fucking hopped up on drugs and alcohol and shit. They're rich. They think they can't be touched and everything like that and stuff. And even after the death of 2 of their friends, they still don't think that it's gonna be them. So that's the thing. But yeah. So anyway, but anyway, so I think we've sufficiently discussed all of seasons of you. Yes. And stuff. And again, if you've listened this far, you've already heard the fucking spoilers for everything. So
Yes.
just be aware. But yeah, no, I wanted to
Joe gets what he deserves.
Yes. And that's another thing. I really liked that, like, Bronte,
Yeah.
when she shot his dick off.
Yes.
That was great.
Yes.
And stuff.
Did you like that comment? He went from a 10 to a 2.
Yeah. So I mean, because honestly, when they were in the forest, she had the gun on him, and the cops were starting to surround them and shit.
Oh my God, he
and
was
he kept
flipping
begging
the fuck out.
because he
And
didn't want to.
Yes, and he's just running around, and then he's taking out people when he occurred, like cops. He's taking out cops when he, and stuff. And I was like, oh, Joe is freaking out. He is a rat caught in a cage trying. Yes,
exactly. And that's why he was trying so desperately to get her to kill him.
Nope.
And stuff. And that's why I'm glad that she shot his dick off when she did have to shoot him when he attacked her.
Yes.
And stuff. But yeah, no, that's the perfect kind of thing. But see, the thing is though, is like when the cops were starting to surround her and shit like that, I'm like, oh my God, please, please, please don't let him be like, she's attacking me, and like try and turn it around, and stuff, or like have the cops be like, put the gun down, and shoot her.
Yes, I kind of kept waiting for that too, and I'm glad.
Like, I was like, stuff, but the only thing I can think of is like, remember 911 had picked up the phone right before Joe like tapped her, and they started,
and you want to see me kill Beck or whatever?
This is how. You heard all that shit and everything like that. I'm like, okay, so coupled with the recording that Kate got where he confessed to the other shit and everything and stuff, plus this 911 call, because 911 calls, they actually start recording before they actually pick up.
Oh,
so
really?
So there's like a couple of few seconds normally that you get recorded before.
And how fucked up was that phone that she couldn't hit the one how many fucking times?
Well, I mean, her fingers were bloody and wet and shit and stuff like that. So, I mean,
because I'm just like, oh my God, it's 3 fucking numbers. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, because there's been a couple of times when I'm like trying to scroll up on my phone. I think it's because I think the shield got cracked or something. Not necessarily the screen itself, but the shield. And so sometimes if I touch it just right, it won't.
Or like when you're trying to answer the phone, you're trying to slide,
exactly,
because
when you called me to come out here to record this, saying that you were ready and stuff, it took me a couple of swipes to finally get it.
And I'm like, oh my God, before it stops ringing, come on, man, let me answer the phone. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, it makes sense and stuff. But I mean, it had to happen that way, so that way, you know,
everything could,
so that way 911 could be picked
man,
up.
And I wasn't sure how long Joe was going to be out in those woods till he figured out, oh, I need to get back to the house.
Well, it's like as soon
as
then
you see him running, and it's like, oh fuck, you better hurry the fuck up.
So like when she ran outside and stuff, and then I was like, double back.
Yep.
Go into the house, grab the phone, grab the phone. And that's exactly what she did. And I was like, thank fuck somebody listened to me.
Yeah.
In one of these shows, in one of these movies and stuff like that. When I'm sitting there and I'm telling the screen, do this. Do this.
Yes.
Do this. They finally fucking do it. I'm like, good girl.
Yes, exactly.
Thank fuck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
So that's...
Yeah, because it seemed like Joe went out a ways, too, looking for her.
Yeah.
And then he was smart, though. He's like, okay, I haven't seen any signs of her. I haven't seen any movement. Shit, she's not out here, you know? But yeah, he ran so fucking fast back there, because you see him coming down the thing.
Yeah, he was...
he was like...
He was running like the fucking Terminator in T2.
Dude, fuck yes, she was. And I was just like, oh shit, you know?
And then when she closed the door and she's like trying to lock it.
I know, I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. And I get it, but it's like, okay, that's when you start trying to push furniture in front of that.
Yes, exactly. And then he busts through and it's like, I was like, oh good, she's not there. What happened? Because I was fully expecting her to be standing there when he busts through, you know?
Yeah, she went out the window, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
But yeah, I'm just like, oh my fucking God, God.
I was like, no. This is the finale. She is not. She is the final fucking girl.
Right. And then I thought he had her when he was drowning her. Yeah. And I was like, you know, because every time someone was drowning, I was like, you fight a little bit and then you pretend.
And that's exactly what she did.
Yes, because
that was another reason why I'm like, good girl.
Yes,
like,
because I was like, come on,
fake it,
exactly,
fake it.
And not your last breath. Let them, because as soon as you drop dead, they'll most likely let you go, and then you just play dead for a little, like 30 more seconds while they get away, and then you start breathing. Like, come on, like, don't panic, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
So,
no,
yeah,
I'm
so
very
glad
happy.
it worked out the way that
And
it
I'm very
worked out.
happy that, you know, like I said, Kate lived, because I really thought Kate was dead. I seriously thought Kate was dead.
And I'm glad that Marion, she finally got the art career that she always
Yes,
wanted.
that's what I was
and
getting
stuff.
to. Yes.
So,
Kate,
yeah.
you know, Kate gave her control to her brother, who deserved it, and became nonprofit. So his dad's rolling over in the grave, which is great. You know, Marion, if you can't, you know, Kate was supporting Marion as a new artist and stuff. Finally got her art career.
Yeah.
Maddie,
you know, got
her happy ending. Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, you know.
Yes, I was very happy with how it ended.
Yeah.
And stuff. And then when Joe got that
Oh
letter.
yeah, Nadia too. You know, like, you know, she
started
helping women in
the
prison.
prison.
And
Yeah.
shit and stuff and
Yes,
everything.
exactly. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I really like that.
And see,
also.
and that's another thing. I am glad that they worked that out, because in season 4, when he set Nadia up to take the blame for, you know, the murder of I forget his name, but
the politician
Reese
guy
or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever
Reese.
his name, and also the friend, because it's like her boyfriend or whatever.
Oh, right.
You know, it's like, no. I'm sick and tired of this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, but when you think about it and stuff like that, it's like, then what should have happened after that point was the stalker for Lady Phoebe or whatever. You remember Joe planted the ear in her backpack, framing her for the murder. She was the one that wound up being framed for the Eat the Rich killer.
Oh, right. Yeah,
for Malcolm and the little artist kid.
Yes.
You know, and stuff like that. So really, if she was found, you know, because they talk about he's the Eat the Rich killer and stuff like that. So I certainly hope, even though that lady was obviously batshit crazy, I'm certainly hoping that they, you know, let everybody know that she wasn't the Eat the Rich killer. And
yes,
obviously she needs to stay somewhere and get help, because she was fucking delusional and was stalking Lady Phoebe,
right,
and stuff. But it's like, I certainly hope that all of that worked out.
I'm
that was
sure
something that they didn't show, so I'm thinking that, you know.
Yeah, with everything else working out the way it is, I think they tied up all the ends that Joe fucked up.
Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, so.
Yes.
So, yeah. There you go.
Yep.
The show You on Netflix.
Yep.
It's definitely good. It's definitely disturbing, but yeah.
Yeah.
So.
You should give it a watch.
Yep, I think so. Are we done?
Yes, I think
we're done with this conversation?
Thank you for listening to today's episode of today's. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.
No, seriously, thank you for listening, because who in their right mind would want to listen to the four of us talk about the most random shit on the planet? So thank you for listening to us. We appreciate it so much, you have no idea. So for further information about this episode, go to our website. It's bringyourownweird.com and see what other
bringyourownweird.com.
Yeah, I don't think they can. You want to say it again? Bringyourownweird.com.
bringyourownweird.com.
Just bringyourownweird.com.
Bring your own weird.
Okay. I think that's enough of an outro, considering it's almost a minute long.